Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast, where we take a few minutes each week to pause, breathe, reflect, and connect about how we can create more peace, more joy, and more calm in our everyday life. I'm your host, Michelle Werdeman, and I am so grateful you decided to hit play today. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter or a little bit gentler. And it was really just a reminder that I personally needed. And in talking with some of my clients over the last week, I think they needed this reminder too, because as I'm recording this, we're about halfway through January, a little bit more. And sometimes that excitement of the new year has faded. Routines feel a little bit heavier in most parts of the world. It's cold. We have some beautiful snow here. But I wanted to talk about what showing up for yourself actually looks like in real life when the motivation or the excitement of the new year has started to fade. And it's such a common time right now that for many people, resolutions have quietly started to fall apart and things just might feel a little bit harder. And a lot of times when that happens and we feel that way, we don't show up with a lot of grace or compassion for ourselves. We'll show up with judgment or guilt and just that little inner voice saying, like, I should be doing more. So before we go any further, I just want to say this clearly. You, my friend, are not behind. You are not failing, and you are not doing anything wrong. In my episode last week, we talked about shifting the focus from what you want to achieve this year to how you want to feel. And I wanted to follow up with something that feels really important because how you show up for yourself matters just as much as what you're working towards. And honestly, this is something I really needed to remind myself of because right now I'm in the middle of creating a new course. So I'm working on all of that content. I'm running my Tranquility Center. I have coaching clients that I have to show up for. I have classes that I lead and doing the podcast and also just doing life, like family schedules, all of it. And there are days when even like little things that I love doing just start to feel like a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can resonate with that. I think a little bit of it is the winter and the cold and the darkness, but also just sometimes life can just feel a little bit overwhelming. And there have been moments where I've caught myself thinking like, I should be further along. I should have more content by now. I should have more done. And why does this feel harder than expected? And every time those thoughts show up, I just have to pause and remind myself, showing up doesn't always mean pushing harder. Sometimes showing up means listening. We've been taught that showing up looks like discipline and consistency and productivity and powering through. That if we just try harder, we'll feel better. But that version of showing up leaves very little room for being human. Now, I'm not against being disciplined and, consistently and being productive. I get it. That's all very important. But here's a gentle truth I want to offer you today. Showing up for yourself does not always look like doing more. Sometimes it looks like doing less on purpose. In real life, showing up might look like, taking a walk instead of the workout you had planned, or choosing rest instead of forcing productivity, changing your plans instead of just pushing through with resistance, and frankly, just canceling something because your nervous system needs some space. It might look like slowing down enough to notice how you actually feel. And none of that means that you failed. None of that means that you're behind. Your body doesn't speak in goals or checklists. It speaks in signals: tension, ease, fatigue. And when we ignore those signals, even our best intentions can turn into pressure. And I feel like this is especially important if this year is about how you want to feel. If you chose words like you wanted to feel more calm this year, or more peace or balance or joy, those feelings do not come from guilt or shame or judgment or pressure. They don't come from criticizing yourself into changing. They come from support. And one of the biggest shifts we can make is letting go of the idea that consistency only counts if it's visible. Sometimes consistency looks like coming back after a pause, or adjusting your expectations, staying in relationship with yourself, even when things feel messy. That all still counts. And if you're listening to this and thinking, I've already fallen off the wagon, I was so motivated 2 weeks ago, what happened? Nothing went wrong, my friends. You're learning what your real life can hold right now. And that's information. That's not failure. Showing up for yourself might look quieter this season. It might look slower. And it might look like tending to your inner world instead of chasing the external world. And that's not something to judge. It's something to honor. And as I look outside, I guess we're supposed to get, I think up to like 2 feet of snow this upcoming weekend. And there's part of me that's just like, oh, that would be nice if things got canceled. It would be nice to have, a snow day, because oftentimes when we're just go, 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 and we're busy and we're trying to do all the things, lifing, if you want to call it, we don't stop to notice, like, how does our body feel? Like, what's going on with our nervous system? And when we do stop and we do kind of check in with ourselves and notice, sometimes what it's asking for is rest. And some people are uncomfortable with that. I've had conversations with people that they're like, oh my gosh, I could never just sit still in the middle of the afternoon. I could never watch a movie or just stop to read a book. And it's because sometimes I think a lot of us, and I used to think the same thing, we often just tie our busyness to our worthiness and our success. Like, the busier you are or the more things you have to do, that somehow translates to you're more successful or your worthiness. And what I've learned over the course of the last couple of years is, one, I love not being busy. I used to be busy constantly. And it's funny because, busy is just a term. It looks different for everybody. And there's, I think, a time and a place, and based on your life and your lifestyle and what you have going on, sometimes busyness just is a part of, life. But at the same time, learning to take a step back, get quiet, really tune in to yourself, that is showing up. It might look different, but that is showing up for yourself. And when you can start to make it a practice of showing up for yourself, you're going to naturally continue to move forward. I hope that makes sense. And before we close, I want to offer a small pause. Nothing, complicated. If you can, just soften your shoulders for a moment and just take a slow breath in through your nose and gently let it out through your mouth. And just ask yourself, without pressure, without fixing, what would supporting myself look like today? Not improving, not achieving, just supporting. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's doing one small thing and letting that be enough. And whatever comes up, simply trust it. You don't need to have the whole year figured out today. You don't have to have all of today figured out. Just this moment. You just need to keep showing up for yourself in honest ways. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for listening. And thank you for showing up exactly as you are. Cheers, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to the Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please share it with a friend or someone who you think could use a little extra calm and joy today. And to stay connected, follow me on Instagram at MBW Living or visit mbwliving.com. And remember, a happy mind truly creates a happy life. Cheers.